Here at Leeds Teaching Hospitals, we are committed to offering the best patient care possible. Information governance is a key part of quality healthcare, and it is important that all staff complete the training and keep information confidential, secure and accurate. Information governance, often known as IG, is a framework which provides a series of legal guidelines and principles for how NHS and social care organisations handle information. The law around IG ensures that the NHS maintains records of care that are accurate, up-to-date, complete and free from duplication and fragmentation. The Information Governance team are responsible for ensuring that appropriate technical and organisational measures are in place to manage the use of information, and ensuring that no unauthorised data is disclosed, lost or damaged. The public expect and trust us to protect their data. The Trust has 3 key information types that must be correctly handled. These include personal information, such as patient names, date of birth and home address. Sensitive information, such as medical conditions, diagnosis and results. Corporate information, such as contracts for suppliers, minutes of meetings and finance details. Handling information means that it must be held securely and confidentially, obtained fairly and efficiently, recorded accurately and reliably, used effectively and ethically, and shared appropriately and lawfully. In order to do this, each and every employee must know their role and responsibilities, in accordance with the Data Protection Act of 1998, the Freedom of Information Act of 2000, the Caldecott Report of 1997 and the Caldecott Review Recommendations of 2013, and to support the future forum's recommendations in achieving the balance between protecting patient information and sharing to improve patient care, staff need to remember these key points. You must justify the purpose of using confidential information. Only use confidential information when absolutely necessary and allow access on a strictly need-to-know basis. Use the minimum information required. Understand your responsibilities and understand and comply with the law. If at any time you are unsure, do not disclose. You should seek further advice from your line manager or the Information Governance team. According to the NHS Code of Practice, all individuals working within the NHS are responsible for the health records they use and keep. Good health record management not only allows healthcare professionals to communicate effectively and deliver the best care to our patients, but also benefits education and research. A health record will go through 4 stages in its lifetime: creation, use, retention, disposal. Each new patient is allocated a unique case number which is recorded along with their NHS number. They will keep this number for any referrals or care episodes. Nothing should be handwritten on the cover of the paper health record aside from accredited blood transfusion, allergy alerts and patient ID stickers. The Trust holds 3 types of health record: paper records, such as health records folders stored in the Medical Records Library; electronic records, including those held on WinDip and the PPM Plus portal; hybrid records, which are held in both paper and electronic form. Records are organised into a number of separate dividers. You should file front sheets, that's patient identification and ethnic monitoring, on top of the green divider. Nursing documentation must be filed behind the green divider. You must mount investigations on the correct sheet. When a mount sheet is full, you should file another mount sheet of the same colour behind the first, and mark them Sheet 1 and Sheet 2 in the top right-hand corner. You should file the most recent records at the back. All correspondence must be filed in front of the blue divider, with the most recent at the front. Documentation, such as operation sheets, anaesthetic records and consent forms, should be filed behind the red divider, the most recent at the back. Behind the yellow divider, there is space for clinical notes, ED cards, and patient identification labels. Each speciality has its own divider, behind which all the relevant clinical notes must be filed in date order, the most recent at the back. WinDip, previously known as optical disc, is the system used by the Trust to electronically archive non-active patient records, as well as emergency department and maternity postnatal records. All staff who need to use health records as part of their duties should gain access to the WinDip system. The role and importance of a health record cannot be overemphasised. A patient's medical record is the principal repository for healthcare information and is a vital instrument in supporting patient care when needed and on time. An absence of the health record could compromise patient care. All individuals have a responsibility to ensure that all records in their possession are accurately tracked on PAS, with the up-to-date location of where the records are held. This will assist all who are required to locate the record easily and speedily. Always complete each mandatory field, including the comment box, as the more information you can record of where the record is within your area makes it easier to find and saves on time. In instances where you receive records either after clinic, from the ward, or ones you have requested yourself, you must mark on PAS in the comment field Received. A good rule to remember is that every patient we encounter deserves the best possible care we can offer. Absence of the health record could compromise patient care. The core elements of information governance are the Data Protection Act of 1998, the Freedom of Information Act of 2000, the NHS Confidentiality Code of Practice, the Computer Misuse Act of 1990, the Common Law Duty of Confidentiality, and internal policies and procedures. It is your responsibility to be aware of all the Trust's legal responsibilities in relation to handling information. For guidance on processing data, please contact the Information Governance team. We will now show you a scenario illustrating an example of poor data handling. A staff member accesses some patient data for a research presentation. She prints off some paperwork containing patient-identifiable data and puts this in a folder to continue her work at home. The staff member walks to a bus stop and waits a few moments for the bus, placing the file on the seat beside her. When she gets up to catch the bus, she forgets to take the file with her. The file containing the data is found by a member of the public. The Trust shares information for non-care purposes with public sector bodies, including the police, government and housing departments, as well as some education and voluntary services. Information will be shared with these organisations when an appropriate information sharing agreement is in place, or if a legal mandate requires us to share information with them. When staff share data with colleagues within the Trust, all data should be sent securely from nhs.net to nhs.net. If data is being sent outside of the Trust, this should only be transferred between secure NHS.net email accounts. We will now show you two examples, one good and one bad, detailing some key points about handling information. Scenario 1. Bad example. Releasing of patient data without prior checks. A staff member receives a telephone call from a member of the public asking for some details regarding an inpatient. No clarification is sought as to their identity and the information is released.
He's on Ward 4 and the visiting hours are between 5 and 7.
Scenario 2. Good example. Releasing of patient data with prior checks. A staff member receives a telephone call from a member of the public asking for some details regarding an inpatient. The member of the public does not know the patient's details and clarification is sought to confirm their identity.
Do you have the patient's NHS number? You don't? Right, what's your relationship with the patient?
The member of staff realises the member of the public is not related to the patient and declines the request for information.
I'm sorry, with you being a personal friend, although I'd like to give you the information, we're not allowed to.
It is also important to know some additional rules, for example, those around internet and social networking. It is inappropriate to use Facebook or social media sites to discuss patient care. It is also inappropriate to misuse any computers, USB sticks, mobile devices, or the internet to view any records where you are not directly involved in the care of the patient, including your own. This includes the records of friends, relatives, and colleagues. The Data Protection Act gives individuals the right to access personal information you hold about them. This is known as a Subject Access Request, or SAR. When an SAR is submitted by patients and staff, individuals have a right to know if the Trust holds their personal information, to know the purpose of processing their personal information, to receive a copy of their personal information as held by the Trust. If this information is recorded within a health record, a consultant should review the record before it can be disclosed. If any member of the Trust receives an SAR, they must forward it to the Access to Health Records team. There are some other important factors to remember in information governance, including auditing and the use of smart cards. All trust systems are subject to monitoring, and any audits carried out which identify misuse may lead to disciplinary procedures being instigated under the Trust Conduct and Disciplinary Policy. The Trust also uses smart cards to enable selected members of staff to access certain information. The chip and PIN cards give you access to specific applications and information. They protect patient data and confidentiality and provide access to patient information that is fully auditable. It is vital that you treat your smart card like a password. You must keep it private and secure, report any loss or damage immediately, and remove your smart card when you are not using your computer. Misuse of smart cards will be subject to investigation. More information on this can be found on the Smart Card intranet site. You should ensure that you dispose of all confidential waste in confidential green waste bags. Confidential waste paper must not be used as scrap paper for messages or notes. Freedom of information gives the public the right to access most non-personal public information upon request. Requests must be made in writing or via email. In the event of receiving an FOI request, staff members should forward this to the Information Governance team. A strong password should contain a combination of letters, numbers, and symbols, a mixture of upper and lower case characters, something memorable but not too obvious, a minimum of 6 characters. We will now show an example of a weak password and how this can be made more secure whilst remaining memorable. Weak password, Joe Blogs, all lowercase. Strong password, Joe Blog 5. JO are uppercase, B is uppercase, the L is an exclamation mark, and the S is a 5. It is your responsibility to keep all personal and sensitive information secure. All members of staff must follow trust policies, protect information physically, practice password management, transfer information securely, report information incidents to your line manager or the Information Governance team. Information governance is the responsibility of every employee. For more information, please visit the Information Governance intranet site or contact leedstr-tr.igtraining@nhs.net or contact leedstr-tr.informationgovernance@nhs.net.